Good? What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Mr. Pyro, and today I'm going to show you how to work on a 2005 Suzuki Aerio. What we're doing is we're replacing the brake pads and the rotors. This should be really quick and laid out. I'm going to have all the tools for you that you need. So let's go down here and I can show you these tools. So real quick, what you'll need is a 17 millimeter, a 14 millimeter, a torque wrench with a 17 socket, a C-clamp, and then maybe even a nice tray to get all your stuff together so that way you don't lose stuff. Also, I got this disc brake grease, and this stuff's really good for all the metal components so that way nothing squeals later on. Alright, so let's get this taken care of. First things first, you're going to want to jack up the car. So I'll put you guys on a pause real quick while I jack up the car and we'll be right back. Okay, so we got the car jacked up. I put the emergency brake on so that way the car doesn't roll back on us. Next thing we're going to do is get the top side ready so that way when we start compressing the caliper, we don't have brake fluid everywhere. So let me grab this rag really quick. And then this rag here is going to prevent fluid from leaking all over the place in this master cylinder over here. So we take the cap off the master cylinder and then we put this rag on top. And that's going to catch any fluid that falls on the ground. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this tire and then I'm going to show you how quickly this process is of removing the brake caliper and the rotor itself. Alright, come on down.
Sit down. Sit down with this.
Can you show the tire or no?
Not much. There you go. I can see the tire.
There you go, scoot over.
And your foot.
Scoot over.
And I can see the tire down.
Alright.
And your foot.
So this is the hubcap, right? This hubcap just comes off with like that. And then this is an impact driver or an impact gun with a 19 millimeter socket, and that's going to help me get this tire off faster. Now, if you don't have this, you can use a regular cross style, or you can also use a breaker bar and a socket. So this is the reason why I say you should have a tray, because these right here might get lost. So you put them in the tray so that way they don't get lost. This tire is going to go underneath the car just in case if the jack fails, the car will land on the tire. So with your 14 millimeter, you're going to take off these bolts right here, this one right here, and then there's one down here which is the brake caliper bolts itself, this one right here. Then once this is removed, you're going to remove this bolt here and this one down here, and that's going to be the bracket bolt. Okay, so then once that's removed, then we're going to remove this rotor right here, replace the rotor and the pads. Okay, so give me just a second here. Here you go. Come on over here. Or you know what? Just stand over here on this side. Yeah, walk around that car. Hold on, hit the pause real quick. Start. All right, so what we're going to be doing right here is going to be removing this bolt right here. Like I said, 14 millimeter. On some of these cars, you might have to put another wrench on the inside here to hold the pin. But on this one, maybe you might not have to, okay? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. This way. Now just keep in mind, when you start hitting wrenches and stuff with your hand, that may cause carpal tunnel and early arthritis. So maybe not so much use your hand a lot like I do, but I'm old, so it doesn't matter. That's all right. Now the reason why we're replacing these is because my mom was saying that her brakes were squealing and they were making a grinding noise. And as far as I know, grinding and squealing aren't good for brakes. That usually means that your rotor is worn down and your brake pads are worn down. So all right, so here we got two 14mm bolts. Those are gonna go in the tray. You don't need to see that. And then this caliper slides right off, just like this. And you can set them right here just to hold them in place. And as you can see, this little plate just fell right off. Brake pad comes out. Backside brake pad comes out. Bad brakes go in the trash. So now we got to worry about these other bolts back here, these 17 bolts. So what I'll do is I'll take this offset with the 17 on there, and I'm going to break those loose so that way we can take this off. Now normally you could use a ratchet for this, or you can use an open end for this. You can even use impact tools for this if you want to. Just keep in mind when you start using impact tools that you could possibly break something because the torque is just so high. So this here is coming off the 17-inch bolt or 17mm bolt, and then this bracket's going to come right off. And there it is, bracket. So bracket, two 17mm bolts, that's going to go on our tray. And then now here's the thing. So this is a little trick I wanted to show you guys, that if this didn't come off smoothly, right, what you can do is you can take this bolt right here, which is a bolt that holds the what is it called? The hood. See this bolt? That bolt right there holds the hood in place. And then you put it right in here in these two little holes, and you torque it down, and it'll pop this bad boy right off. So no need for banging, no need for giant tools, just two little bolts. It'll pop that thing right off. So here's the rotor itself, popped off, and as you can see, there's a lot of brake dust in there. It's got a real heavy lip on it, so that tells me that this brake rotor needed to be replaced. Okay. So what we did earlier was we took the brake master cylinder cap off and put a rag on top. And the reason we did that was so that way we can compress this caliper. So the way you compress the caliper is with the C-clamp. You put the C-clamp here, you put it in, and then all you're gonna do is just drive that thing down like that. That's all you're doing, is compressing this piston to go in, which gives more room for the new brake pads. Now, there we go. So sometimes it'll leak over. You know, it's not a big deal, but sometimes it happens. So this is already ready already, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the new caliper and the new brake pads, and we're gonna slap it all back in, okay? Oh, look at this. This doesn't have a cotter pin, which it needs a cotter pin so that way it doesn't fall out. We'll address that in a later date. So right now I'm going to put you guys on pause while I go get the rotor ready and the brake pads. Okay, so we have our brake rotor here, and we have our fancy brake parts cleaner. And this right here comes with this grease or lubricant that comes over top of it. And you want to get that off. You want to be as clean as possible with this one here. And to get that off, use the brake parts cleaner. And you don't need very much. You just need, you know, a little bit. Just enough to coat the outside. And then you can take a fancy rag here and then wipe that off. Now it's not going to be perfect, but you just want to get that outside layer off. All right, so this one's good. And then for these brake pads, what are you looking at? With these brake pads, see, you want to put them together and you want to give them a rub. You want to try to make them smooth. That's what the aim of the game is. There we go, nice and smooth, okay? So now we're going to take this stuff and we're going to come over here and we're going to install them on the part there. All right, so with this out of the way over there, this is going to go on here. There we go, that goes there. Grab our fancy bracket with our 217s. Woo, lost one. So this bracket right here is what holds on that rotor, okay? And not only that, but the tire is what's going to hold it in place. It's kind of like a friction lock. The tire holds it in place like that, and then this bracket holds the caliper, or the caliper in place. 17mm. Just going to tighten that down. Now, if you're going to tighten this down to spec, that's going to be 26 foot-pounds. If you're going to do it like me, which is that good old German torque, which is good and tight, you just give it a couple of pops, and then you're good to go. So then we grab our new brake pads, and then we're going to use the grease. So this grease here goes on the metal portion of the brake caliper bracket. Just keep in mind, try not to touch the rotor itself, because you don't want to mess it all up. This right here goes here, on the ends like that, because this is what's going to touch the metal portion of that bracket. And then if this is the back one, you're going to also put it on the back side, because that's where the caliper is going to be hitting.
You smeared in that black stuff.
Smeared it all over like peanut butter, buddy. Right? And you see how this has the little curve on it like this? Right? That curve is going to follow the same curve as the rotor, okay? So when you put it on, it's going to go this way. And this friction side goes on the rotor. Just be careful not to touch it, because now it's all greasy.
Smeared it, that's why.
That's right. There we go. There's one side. Grab this side here. Coat the edges there. Then a little bit on the outsides here, because that's where this bracket rubs on.
Smeared it again.
Yeah.
So the third one smear?
Huh?
So is there another one you have to smear?
Yeah, this one's smeared too. Both of them get smeared.
So last one?
That's it for that one. Alright?
For me, it kind of looks like a gun handle for some reason.
Alright. So now we'll grab our other little bolts, our little 14s. This goes on there. Now, if we didn't compress that caliper earlier, we wouldn't have been able to do this so easily.
First, might get copyrighted.
All right, there we go. So now all we need to do is now put the tire back on, and then we can lower the jack, and then we can cap the master cylinder, push on the brakes. Now the reason we did this thing with the master cylinder is so that way we don't have to bleed the brakes. This avoids us bleeding the brakes, because bleeding the brakes by yourself is not the business. All right, we can grab this tire.
The new cameraman just scoots up.
Still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So, grab this tire. Put it on over here.
Let me just get a good shot of this.
And then torque value for these is going to be 90 foot-pounds, unless you have an impact, and that's going to be equal to 2 Ugga-Duggas. Sure is hot out here.
Yep.
I think we're at about 100 degrees today.
Surprised their blood cells are
111, I believe.
I'm surprised their blood cells are not burning. Our body right now.
All right, then we put the hubcap back on. So the hubcap has this little notch right here, and that notch is going to be for the valve stem. So you find the valve stem, you put the notch over the valve stem, and then everything's going to be in line. Good to go. Now we get to lower this thing here. Then we come back over here. Then we're gonna put this cap back on this cylinder here, and you can see like this thing's full of fluid now. So we put the cap back on. Go back in the car, push the brakes a couple times. Now you want to push the brakes until they get hard. Then we're going to check the fluid level. And as you can see, looks like we're going to need more fluid because we used a lot. Which is okay, because I brought some fluid with me. Ha ha ha. So we put a little fluid in there, fill her up to the line. Good. Cap this up. And that's it. You're all done. So there you go. We just replaced brake caliper and rotors on this 2005 Suzuki Aerio. It's real easy to do. Like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's it. Thank you very much. If I have any more, I'll add it to the end. You guys have a good day. Thanks. Bye. All right, so we just finished up at my mom's house, and if the video was really shaky, sorry about that. I had my cameraman, was my nephew, and he's got some ADHD or something, because boy, that kid's all over the place, but it's all right. He helped me out a ton, so that way I can give you guys this video. I'm sorry if it seemed like kind of rushed, but having him hold the camera and you know, me not doing things by myself, it's just kind of, it's a little harder than usual, but that's all right. We'll get it all worked out. All right. Once again, like, this is a real easy job, so anyone can do it. That was an 05 Suzuki Aerio. Didn't look like a station wagon one, but you know, it's fine. So after I was done, my mom went for a drive and everything went good, and she was very happy, so that's good. So I don't know, next video, you guys tell me. Hopefully I can do something that you guys enjoy. And thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know, hit me up below, and I'll be glad to answer any comments, any concerns, anything you guys want. I got you. You guys have a good evening. See you guys later. Bye.